Everybody listen up. Source, did you check to see if we're alone? Just can't help but remember the last time we all sat around in a room talking about really secretive shit? Cool. Thank you. Right, I just wanted to go over, Kaimana, eyes up here. No, I know Abel has a lot of shinies, and they're really nice to look at, but we can do that later. Come on, focus, this is important, okay? So, before we go into Anavir, I just thought it'd be smart to go over everything we know. You guys have the chart in front of you, so we can all look. Jerry, don't look at me like that. The chart is perfectly organized, and it makes perfect sense. Refer to the chart. So everything started with A Priori, right? A Priori is a group that started with the goal of protecting the people. It was run by Damien Corday, Iris's dad. And when A Priori became corrupted, because it was a big organization, and we all know what happens with big organizations, Damien broke off and he started his own group, Vox Populi. Hey, jury. Victor Rilus then was the head of A Priori, but he was eventually sentenced and executed by the crown, specifically the Curia Regis. Maybe. It's complicated. But now A Priori is back, still using the original chess piece hierarchy to signify their ranks. Soris knew the man who created him to be the bishop, but we now know he's currently the king, and that's Ahriman, which is also the name of the youngest son of Sumat, the Violet Dragon, who was lost in the Vale during this version and was never seen since. According to Archmage Lunaria Mistweaver, you all haven't met her, but she's just like really cool, okay? Like, she's like, what was I saying? Right, according to Archmage Mistweaver, Ahriman looks identical to the deceased Victor Rilus, the original king. So it seems like Ahriman is actually the dragon who went mad from being in the Vale for too long, just like what happened with Caiaphas, the betrayer god, and now he's back, taking the form of Victor Rilus, and has restarted A Priori to do something bad. Definitely, we'll get there. What we do know is that this new A Priori has teamed up with the Tidewaters, with the queen being Valaria Highwand, better known as the Watcher and the leader of the Tidewaters. Our first confirmation of this was the Cuck, Sora Narita, who was both a Tidewater and a pawn in A Priori. The Tidewaters are collecting the Tide Bonds, which will open the gate to Azalor, the underwater city that's been closed off for years and houses the sleeping dragon Naginda. Why they went into Azalor is still unknown, but it's fucked. It's all fucked, really. No, we're fine. It's fine. Now, our main problem is that we don't know all the members of A Priori. I mean, we know the king and the queen, and the pawns seem to be whoever's useful in the moment, but ultimately dispensable. The position of the bishop clearly became vacant once Ahriman / Victor Rilus / whoever the fuck became the king, but it has to have been filled by someone equally powerful, some kind of mage, right? The knight is... Well, frankly, we've never heard mention of a knight, so who the hell knows who that could be, but we did find a tower, or at least a tower, which was the patrician, Lady Haverly, before her tragic demise, right, Source? The Haverleys were the ones who captured my friends, Amalia and Aris, for their fucked up little zoo, and eventually gave them to the king and the bishop for Ahriman to experiment on them. Oh yeah, that's a thing Ahriman does. Weird experimentation that seems to be primarily focused on transformation, with turning rats into humanoids, testing on lycanthropes, working with the Rakshasa, the shapeshifters from Noavia, sorry Abel, and so on. The notes we found from Ahriman's lab have talked about things like immortality, dunamancy, Draco liches, the threat of the veil, so really comforting shit. Back to it. Once Haverly bit the dust, a tower position opened up, which according to my intel was filled by Tarlo Whistleton, a member of the Curia Regis, the Lord of Antiquities, Overall, just a giant piece of shit who's fucking a stable boy. Anyway, this is pretty fucking bad because it means that the Curia Regis is compromised by a priori. But we already had suspicion that was the case because the travel plans of Darkon Cerulean, the alcoholic guildmaster, still feel really bad about that one, Princess Alyria, and Abel's dad, Ogwan, awesome, the Noavian diplomat, were leaked, resulting in the royal airship being attacked by kamikaze fighters with a notably Noavian airship that, of course, now is ours. You're welcome. But the only people who knew those travel plans were the Curia Regis. So we've been trying to determine who was the leak, and likely a priori, which I started working on when I was going solo in Anavir. And when I was in Anavir, I suffered through meeting all of the Curia Regis, including the slimiest, weirdest fuck I've ever met in my life, Yusef Arathon, the crown regent and head of the council. Yusef is blatantly racist toward Noavia and dropped like a million hints that he thinks Noavia should be back under Illyrian control. So now, while I have no definite proof that Yusef is a priori, Yusef is totally a priori. Consider, if Yusef had a Noavian airship attack a royal fleet, it would frame Noavia for a terrorist attack and could be used as justification for Alyria declaring war on Noavia, which could potentially result in the colonization of Noavia and Illyrian acquisition of Noavian resources, most notably Zephyrsite, which is an incredibly powerful magical resource. So, if you were a really racist fuck that was also an extremely powerful mage in a group looking to take over the country, and that we already know has high interest in obtaining Quicksilver from their actions in Feldspar, wouldn't it make sense that you pass along the travel plans and stage a war that could only benefit you? Plus, I pulled about the coolest shit in my life by showing Yusef the a priori pawn figure that we got from Sora Nerida, and his face twitched, so I'm right, I'm totally fucking right, I will be vindicated on this, just you fucking wait, and I mean, if I'm not, he's a really racist prick, so, but I'm right, it doesn't matter. Okay, rapid fire round of things I missed that we can't quite fit into the puzzle yet. The Tidewaters have a devil working for them, sworn to the Watcher, and currently ensures Rennis Wade finds the Tide Bond that he totally won't find because we have it. A priori is also working with a death cult that they use to help infect people in the Boreal Quarter in Hightower with other devils to make the soul cages of dead bodies. The necromancer of that cult called his group the Shadow, which was the army that fought with the Betrayer God in the subversion, and he said the goal is to bring down Terrace Anor, which is the only thing holding back the Veil, so concerning, and someone, in the Vital Cloister was totally helping a priori do this, which could have possibly been Volmir Rylus, the Archon of Mysteries and Victor Rylus' son. I set up a test with Archmage Mistweaver to see if Volmir would come to her about what happened in the Boreal Quarter or not. So we'll see how that turned out. Alright, so, in conclusion, a priori and Ahriman look like they're gaining enough power and dark magic to open the Veil, maybe to let the Veil creatures loose on Alyria, maybe to attack the Veil directly, or maybe to utilize the Veil to take over the country. Who knows? We sure don't, but we're gonna find out, and we're gonna stop them. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, yeah, that's it. I'm done. Hey, why are you all getting up so fast? Did you even listen to me? That is the most I've ever spoken at once. You will not hear from me from the rest of the... Kaimana, that is my sword. Do not touch it. I swear to Supernot.